Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Following the biggest offseason of moves and acquisitions by General Manager Howie Roseman, the expectations of this city have never been higher. Welcome to the 2022 Pond Lehocky Postgame Show on 6abc.com and across the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, exclusively presented by Pond Lehocky Giordano. Live from the Gallery Bar, booking games inside Ocean Casino Resort. Let's get this post-game show underway. EAGLES, Eagles.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
Continue your communication sciences and disorders education at Salus University within the Doctor of Audiology or Masters of Science in Speech-Language Pathology programs. With state-of-the-art labs, on-campus clinics, and extensive externship opportunities, students position themselves to be at the top of the job market. Stand out in the audiology and speech-language pathology profession by visiting salus.edu.
Go to get your game on.
To the Pond Lehocky Eagles post-game show. I am Mike Missinelli, Derek Gunn, and Seth Joyner. Devin Caney will join us later. Here's what I had to say. The Eagles are pretty good, right? I mean, they're really good, and today they were like sharks that saw blood. What was the blood? The Titans could not stop the pass. What did the Eagles do? They passed them into oblivion, and the result is Jalen Hurts, 380 yards through the air for 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown coming back at his old team with 8 grabs for 119, 2 TDs, one when he was wide open by like 30 yards, the other where he snatched it right out of the defensive back's hands, and Devontae Smith with 5 grabs for also triple digits. So they now move to 11-1, and they shackled Derrick Henry. It was a dominant, one-sided performance. I don't know what else to say, Derek.
Mike, when you have the multitude of miscues that this Eagles team had today, and normally when you have that many miscues, you let the opposition back in the game. But they still asserted themselves. We knew going into this game that Tennessee could not defend the pass. And so why run the football? They came out passing the ball. They dared Tennessee to stop them, and Tennessee couldn't stop them. You know, one thing I really liked about leading up to this game, A.J. Brown was very reserved about his approach to this game in terms of what this game meant to him, Seth. But you could tell in his play, his body language from start to finish, this was a game that was circled on his calendar for quite some time, and he went out and put some big numbers up. That touchdown he caught over the defender was an exclamation point on his afternoon.
Well, I mean, and he had another one called back for another 30-something, almost 40-something yards that he just barely stepped out of bounds on. But, you know, listen, I've been in that situation before. When you play against your former team, the thing you want to show them is what a mistake they made and what you actually bring to the table, and you want to exact some revenge. And not only did the Philadelphia Eagles get this W, but A.J. Brown exacted his revenge today. I will say this about the Philadelphia Eagles. This is just a pretty damn good football team, period.
Yep.
Because when you can go through a game with the kind of miscues that they had on the offensive line from a penalty standpoint, and then you turn around and you slow down one of the premier running backs, in the game. It's just one of those situations where, and then you come out and you throw the ball like crazy. I said in pregame that I thought Jalen Hurts would probably have to throw the ball 40 times in order for them to win because of the run defense. But I had no idea he'd put up these types of numbers. I said 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit. But I think this kind of puts to rest all the nonsensical chatter that we've been hearing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, because the Eagles have been running the ball to win, opposed to throwing it. And there's this thought that, hey, you know what? This team can't throw the ball. They've kind of fallen off throwing the ball. Well, this staff has proven that they will do whatever is necessary to win a football game. If they got to throw it, they'll throw it. If they got to run it, they'll run it, and they'll do whatever else, along the way to get the job done.
That's totally the key, because we've seen coaching staffs in the past when the other team is weak in a certain area, they for some reason won't attack that weakness. But today, the game plan, obviously, listen, the Titans were 31st in the league against the pass. They came right out and threw the ball against them, and I know that was something that we really wish they were going to do this in this game. And meanwhile, what they realized that the Titans aren't, once you get ahead of this team, the Titans aren't going to beat you. And it hurt them that Treylon Burks got hurt. But once you stop Derrick Henry, that's not a team that the Ryan Tannehill's going to rescue with the wide receivers he has and the talent. And the Eagles had 6 sacks today because of that.
Here's another example of how fortunate we are to have a team that's so deep across the board in talent. When one key player goes down, you insert another one, and it doesn't miss a beat. You look at a team like Tennessee, and there's more teams out there than not like Tennessee. Once you lose a frontline talent, you are hurt severely. They lose Treylon Burks, it severely hurts their running game. If they can't run the football to set up the pass, it severely hurts their overall offense. Their defense is stout against the run, but they can't defend the pass. They're an either-or team on both sides of the football. You look at this Eagles team, they're an either-or team on both sides of the football, but you stop their run, they kill you through there. You stop the pass, they run all over you. That's a great luxury that most teams in the National Football League don't have.
They had 11 penalties today, Derek and Seth. 9 of them from the offensive line. Well, one Jalen Hurts got on a false start where he shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, how do you explain? They really weren't focused early on, especially with a lot of these false start penalties.
Well, I saw a tweet or some information somewhere where, at halftime, Nick Sirianni, made the comment that, what was going on with the offensive line, he took responsibility for it. Now, most of the time, coaches are going to do that. But I can't imagine, what the issues were that you can have 5 false starts, in the first half of a football game. But, Mike, to your point, this goes to show how good of a football team this is when you can have, I don't know how many total penalties they had on the day. 11 penalties. I guess the saving grace is they didn't turn the ball over, because 1 or 2 turnovers, things could have been markedly different. But this is a pretty darn good football team to overcome the things that they've been able to overcome. The only time they haven't been able to overcome some of these issues that they've had, was that loss to Washington, when they had the turnovers and penalties and everything going on there.
Yeah, they had penalties early in the game. In the first drive, they come out throwing, though, and they kept getting setback, and they still push forward, and they get the touchdown to Devontae Smith 3 minutes into the game, 7-0. Boom. Right away, you put Tennessee on their haunches going, okay, we're behind. How are we going to combat that? And they did come back and tie it. But the longer this game went on, there was no way, once the Eagles got a big lead, that they were going to come back.
Well, it should tell you what their game plan was right from the outset on that first opening drive. They go 75 yards. They only ran the football 1 time. I thought there would be a little bit more balance to see if they could test Tennessee's interior. But they told you right from the outset, we're throwing on you all afternoon. I dare you to stop it. And plain and simple, they could not stop it. Now, we had talked about for the last couple of weeks, the Eagles' passing numbers are down because they're running all over everybody, okay? Now they come out and pass the ball. I don't want to hear people talking about, they can't run the football. Well, Tennessee is really good against the run. They just can't stop you in the pass.
Yeah.
You beat your opponent, Seth, any way you can.
Well, listen, there's no doubt about it. However it is that you got to get the W, the most important thing is getting the W. And whether you got to run the ball or pass the ball or a combination of the two to get there, who cares? As long as you're winning the games. But I don't know. We'll find something to complain about. We'll find something.
No, we're not complaining today.
Hey, listen.
Listen, we're going to complain about the penalties, obviously, but they win comfortably. So they'll address that. That's a team problem that Sirianni's going to have to deal with. But, this Titans team had a lot of sacks coming in. They were pretty efficient getting to the quarterback. They didn't do that today.
Well, 9 times out of 10, when you can control the run the way that they can control the run, and you've got some halfway decent pass rushers, then you're going to be okay. I mean, they got Bud Dupree. He did a pretty good job today rushing the passer. The Eagles got themselves in trouble, I thought, a little bit in the second quarter and into the third quarter when they just went strictly pass. They got in a situation where all they were going to do is just throw the ball. Well, even whether you have success running the ball or not, I'm curious to see. Let's see. On third down conversions, the Eagles are 3 of 11 today. And I would imagine a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were, somewhat behind the gun, if you will, as far as, the penalties are concerned. But they could get where they need to get to when they wanted to. I just thought that, if anything, they could have had a little more balance in that little small window, because what began to happen is, the Tennessee Titans started to get some pressure. The Eagles essentially made themselves one-dimensional by just throwing the ball all the time. And if they had just created a situation where they could have just gotten, a few runs sprinkled in there, then I think it would have been a lot easier for them offensively, and they probably would have scored a few more touchdowns. It's just going crazy back here. Hard for me to keep my train of thought with this New York and this Washington game going on.
The great thing about doing live TV at a sports book is that there's a lot of invested fans with other games, and the Giants and the Commanders just finished an overtime tie at 2020. So a lot of disappointed Giants fans that are down here today. But, there's so many great things to look at in this game. And so let's talk about A.J. Brown, first of all. I mean, he's obviously had this circle on his calendar. Anytime you're traded or you moved out of an organization, even though it benefits both teams, you feel like you're not wanted. So as an athlete, you bring that chip of your shoulder to the field. And he wanted to perform in this game. He wanted to show the fans back in Tennessee watching this game what they missed.
Well, when you take into consideration what he had done his first 3 seasons for that organization, he comes out of the gate his rookie season and his second campaign, over 1,000 yards receiving. His third year was cut short by injuries, but he still had close to 900 yards receiving. He was outside of Derrick Henry, he was the focal point of that offense. And basically, Tennessee said, we're not paying you what you're asking. And from what we understand, it wasn't a big difference between what the Titans, what he wanted from the Titans and what the Eagles ended up giving him. So, he didn't want to leave Tennessee. They forced his hand. So he comes here where he's welcomed with open arms, a $100 million contract, $57 million guaranteed, and he's got new life. And as the season unfolds, by the way, he just happens to be playing for the team with the best record in the National Football League that, by the way, has Tennessee on his schedule this year. So naturally, it's just a personal game for him. And he wanted to show, you're right, Mike, Tennessee fans, the organization, because if you look at the one touchdown he had, he was jaw-jacking with the Tennessee sideline at one point. So, yes, this was personal to him.
It's funny because he's in a much better place, and I think he admitted that during the week. He's in a much better place, but you still have that little axe to grind. I mean,
Absolutely.
Look, he's got a new contract and a team that may go to the Super Bowl, so that's a pretty good deal for him. Seth, as an ex-player, what's that feel like?
It's a very good deal for him. My thing is, they made a decision. The decision was, is it going to be, because you got your quarterback making franchise money, you got a running back that's probably one of the highest, if not the highest paid running backs in the league. We can't afford to pay, a number one wide receiver, 20, 25 million bucks. So they made the decision to go with the quarterback and to go with the running back, and felt like they could replace him in the draft. So they move him, and yes, he wants to show them that they made a mistake. Every player is that way. I mean, listen, I can remember when I played against the Eagles for the first time. Yeah, I wanted to come in and have like 20 tackles and 2 sacks and an interception and 2 caused fumbles. Yeah, you want to do all of those things, because you want that organization to know what a mistake they made.
Jalen Hurts today, fellas. 29 for 39, 380. His average was 9.7. He did get sacked a couple times. His rating, 130.3. And some ridiculous numbers that we'll talk about with Jalen Hurts. But let's join the Eagles locker room right now, where Lane Johnson, the Eagles all-pro right tackle, is joining us. And Lane, listen, you guys are good. I mean, a lot of penalties, especially on the offensive line. I don't know what was happening early on, but this team waltzes to another victory, 35-10. How good are you guys?
We're good enough to beat ourselves, but we're talented. We're a talented group. Just a lot of penalties. I felt like we set ourselves back a lot, but moving forward, I mean, we got to be more crisp on things like that.
Hey, Lane, congratulations on a lopsided win in this game today. And it is a joyous moment, but, you and I, we've talked about this time and time again, and you've talked about it on this platform. I don't want to be in your meeting room this week with Jeff Stoutland as you go over the film and look at the miscues. What was going on with the miscues, especially early on in the game with all the false starts and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, really goes down to focus. I think sometimes you can lose track of that. So, yeah, I mean, that was a sloppy one from us, all across the board. Just with pre-snap stuff. Other than that, I mean, this game, I think the tell of our team is, we can be kind of function to what we need to be. Last week we were heavy on the run. This week, throw it up to our receivers, just making, lights out plays. So credit to them.
Lane, there's no doubt that you guys will, clean up the penalties. I'm not worried about that in the least little bit. As a perfectionist, as a player, you should feel the way that you feel about that. Talk to me about, what you just touched on, the diversity that this football team has to be able to, run for, 363 yards one week and then come back and have your quarterback throw for 375 yards the next week.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes down to how we game plan. I feel like we do a good job of that. We spend a lot of time on that. So, yeah, it's just one of those games where it's totally different than the previous one. But yeah, like I said, people were making plays early. You do that in the passing game. It's hard to turn away from that. So, shout out to the guys outside because they played a hell of a game.
Lane, let's talk about that game plan a little bit because, we're looking at it from afar and we're going, okay, they're 31st in the league against the pass. But you guys are so balanced that I didn't know that you were going to commit to throwing the ball. When you noticed the game plan this week, I mean, could you sense the same thing, that this team was going to be weak against the pass and you're going to have to do a lot more pass blocking in this game?
I figured that about Thursday, what it was going to be. Yeah, man. I mean, it's this league's all about matchups and all about game planning and utilizing what you have. So, shout out to the guys in the game plan, our coaches and our receivers and Jalen, man, having a good day.
Hey, Lane, I thought your offensive teammate A.J. Brown did an excellent job of keeping this game in its proper perspective when he talked about focusing on the game and continuing on the path of great success as a team. But could you sense that he wanted this game not just to win and rub it in Tennessee's face, but also to have a great showing against the organization that turned their back on them? Could you get a feeling that this was a special game for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he approached it in a mature way. Really, he wasn't chirpy about it. I think what he realized is that, sometimes that if you do get over emotional, you may not play good.
Yeah.
You may cloud your focus. And he was just, he was just focused all week. You could see it, quietly, sticking to himself. And yeah, man, he made some that one catch was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Isaac, what's funny, Isaac don't really say a lot. He goes to the bench and he said, "Man, that was a pretty good catch." I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty good."
Hey, Lane, you talked about game planning. When you guys come in on Wednesday morning, you get the game plan, you see the computer printout. Do you guys actually look at, statistically where where a defense, I should say, ranks? And does that kind of give you an idea of where the coaches or what the coaches are thinking? This Tennessee defense was ranked 3rd against the run, giving up only 84.5 yards a game. Yet on the passing side, they're ranked 31st, and they were giving up 266 yards per game.
Yeah.
So do you guys as players, are you guys cognizant of that, or is that just something that the coaches, talk about?
Yeah, no, that's in our meetings every really every Wednesday. You go to team meeting, and you go to what offense needs to attack. You look at the turnover differential. You see what they are on 3rd down. You see, all those stats are up there, are there, and so really, Wednesdays and Thursdays is all about talking with Coach Stout and Shane and getting a good game plan together. So by Friday, you know what time it is.
Lane, now it's 3 straight road games, and the next week the Giants tied today against the Commanders. The 3rd one on that is the Dallas Cowboys. It's really difficult for a team to go 3 straight weeks on the road. So tell me how you guys process that.
And just thing about now is just you're trying to get your bodies to feel good, take advantage of the rest that we have compared to what we did earlier in the season. And I think, if you're feeling good, I feel like you play better. So that's big, because a lot of times later in the season you don't want to be limping into a playoff. You want to be healthy, and so this is the time to do that.
Hey, Lane, you've been with this team a long time. When you look at the depth and the versatility of this team on both sides of the football, does this team exceed even the 2017 team in terms of talent overall?
It's hard to say. I would say we're a very similar team. Just the vets and the bunch of young talent. But every team's different. I feel like we're on a good track. These next few games are big for us. We need to try to clinch home field advantage. So that's in our sights. But next week we got the Giants, man. They're a good team this year. Really good.
Hey, Lane, I'm sorry.
Lane, I know that. I know that, once you guys come off the field, you're going through, your adjustments on the sideline. You're trying to, get hydrated, get some Gatorade, some water in you. Do you guys watch what's going on with the defense? They held Tennessee to 53 plays for 209 yards. That's 3.9 yards per play. That's pretty darn impressive, man.
Yeah, I saw it. Pretty much, this meetings was, a lot of Derrick Henry's kind of highlights, showing his stiff arms, what he does to people. So, and then they showed a stat, I think, with how many games they won when he has 100-plus yards rushing. It was a really good stat. So that was their focus all week. Shout out to the guys up front, man. Just great pressure in the pass game, stopping the run. Really good. One of their best performances this year.
Lane, last question. I still don't think you guys are getting the credit that you really deserve as one of the best teams in this league. And I wonder if you hear about the Kansas City Chiefs, you hear about the Bills, and the Eagles are still kind of like an afterthought, even though you're an 11-1. Do you guys feel that at all? Do you care about it?
No, not really. Like I said, man, it all goes down to focusing and controlling the day. All that's going to take care of itself in due time. And the weeks go by faster than you think. So, right now it's the New York Football Giants, and that's where we're at.
Hey, Lane, it's just an opportunity to break them underdog masks out again. That's all.
The way I swear it feels like that. It just feels like that. Everybody talks AFC, and the Eagles are kind of like somewhere in there, but they're not getting the credit they deserve.
Hey, Lane, quick question to you. What do you guys do daily in practice, getting ready for games, to challenge yourselves? Because you guys are at the king of the hill right now at 11-1. Everybody else is gunning for you guys. How do you guys go about challenging yourselves daily in practice?
I think a lot of it goes down to really, people that played a long time in the NFL, man, the scout team makes such a huge difference. I think that the guys that we have go super hard, create a really good look, and that's who you're seeing every day. We play against who we play on, on Sundays, but who you're going against in practice every day really does, those reps stack out for us. So I feel like those guys make us better, definitely from an offensive side. Yeah, man. So a lot of credit goes out to them too.
Lane, listen, great job, and another win and a dominant win before the home crowd, and 3 on the road. We'll see how you come out with 3 on the road, but I'm thinking this team is on your way to a number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout, and that's a good thing.
Yep. Appreciate y'all.
Man.
Thank y'all.
All right, there he is, Lane Johnson, live from the locker room, Lincoln Financial Field. It's just you're right, Seth. The defense, we haven't really talked enough about the defense today. But the Titans had 11 first downs and 209 total yards to the Eagles' 453. That's just a dominant performance with all these penalties.
Well, listen, the offense had to overcome their side of the ball. The defense didn't really have many penalties at all. The offense kept getting stalled in the first quarter and a half, and but they come back and they convert, and they convert the first down, even though they got 1st and 15, 1st and 20. The defensive side of the ball, man, you can just tell they came out, with the mindset that Derrick Henry was getting nothing at all. And, the return of Jordan Davis was a big deal, but I would venture to say that, listen, you don't ever want to see a player get hurt. But I think Jordan Davis getting hurt was a blessing in disguise. You want to know why? Because it forced Howie Roseman to make a move and go bring in Linville Joseph and bring in Ndamukong Suh. And the depth at the defensive tackle position right now for the Philadelphia Eagles is just insane, So now, these guys are going to be fresh. And then you look at Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. If they can keep playing at that level with the kind of push you're going to get from those 5 guys in the middle, this defense can be dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. And you might be able to see them, like today. And I don't know what Tennessee's offensive lineman health is like, but they just ran roughshod over them guys when they had to pass the ball today. That's what Jonathan Gannon wants to do. He wants to just rush forward and drop off in coverage on 3rd and long, 2nd and long type situations. But if you can keep getting the production out of those middle guys the way you're getting it, then that means that there's nowhere for the quarterback to step up. And if those guys on the edge can cut the edges off of the defense, if you will, this is going to be a tough defense to handle.
I actually thought this was going to be a test for him. It turns out
I did too.
It was not a test at all, because what we learned about the Titans, and this has happened like 3 straight weeks, if Derrick Henry is not successful, they're not a team that's going to beat you coming from behind, a quick striking and all that. They're just not that type of team. So it played right into the Eagles' hands today. But, very impressive win. And we're going to talk a lot about this during the course of the day. We have our Diamond debate coming up. Devin Caney will join us. And we have John McMullen, who covered the game for JAKIB Sports. And we'll have him on shortly. So hang in there. It is the Pond Lehocky Eagles postgame show live at Ocean Casino. You're watching us on 6abc.com or the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. And we're back after this.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands, more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
Welcome back to the Pond Lehocky Postgame Show. I'm Devin Caney. It is time for our Diamond Debate presented by Mark's Jewelers. Mark's is always giving me the best bling for this postgame show. Today I have a pair of beautiful earrings as well as this diamond tennis bracelet. And guys, Christmas is just around the corner. The holidays, like perfect gifts to give your significant other, your mom, your dad, I don't know, just a congratulations gift after the Eagles win another game. Our Diamond Debate topic today is, was this win over the Titans the most impressive performance of the season? If you're tuning in and you want to weigh in, you can find that on the JAKIB Media Twitter page and the YouTube channel in the community section. Right now, it is a resounding yes. About 85% of people say that yes, this was the most impressive performance and win of the season for the Eagles. Do you guys agree?
I think I do, and here's why. Because it's game number 12. I mean, this is the time of the season where you really crunch down and show everybody how good you are, and you don't allow for slippage. I see teams all over the NFL slip and slide. This team came out in a dominant fashion in a game that we all thought was going to be tougher for them. I mean, that line kept inching down. There were a lot of people that were betting the Tennessee Titans today, and the Eagles responded well. I would have to agree with that. Finest win of the year.
It's an old saying in football, but this Eagles team imposed their will on the opposition. They basically came out and told you what they were going to do and said, I dare you to make us change, and Tennessee could not on either side of the football. Eagles bowed up in the trenches and stopped Derrick Henry, as has been the case for the last 4 weeks against this team. I thought this was going to be another one of those 24-20 type teams. Games in the final analysis. When you consider Tennessee had not given up more than 22 points to an opponent all season, except week number 2 against Buffalo, they came out here and just basically told you, you can't stop us. There's no way you can stop us. And then once the Eagles get up on top of you, they force the opposition, in this case Tennessee, to play catch-up, takes them completely out of their game. And let's face it, Tennessee is not built to play catch-up football.
I told you before in the pregame they were going to score over.
You did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Listen, it was an impressive win because just understanding, what they did last week, you just knew that Mike Vrabel was going to have this team locked and loaded and ready to go. And it seemed like they didn't have an answer. They didn't have an answer for what Jonathan Gannon put on the field to get Derrick Henry going. They didn't have an answer, after Treylon Burks got hurt, that kind of put him behind the 8 ball a little bit. But even at that, they didn't really have an answer in the passing game. And they certainly didn't have an answer for what was going on with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the other side of the ball. Devin, I think the thing that I'm most impressed about is the fact that, this team can take whatever's necessary and figure out a way to win.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, that whatever adjustment that they've made, whatever game plan they've put together, whether they had to adjust on the fly or whether it went according to plan like today, they're 11-1. And you can't argue with that.
No, and, offensively especially, they're still without Dallas Goedert. And when someone goes down, when they need to maybe run the ball more, when, today, they need to pass the ball more, we see Jalen Hurts do what he needs to do. I loved the play calling today as well. I thought the game planning from Nick Sirianni was incredible. Of course, the penalties, I guess, if you had to find something to complain about, were, I guess, frustrating, but I'm not overly concerned. I think that's just going to happen sometimes. I don't know.
Here's, I think, a telling sign on how good this team is. Because you're right, Tennessee does not give up a lot of what they're averaging 17 points given up. Game one team got more than 20, I think 20.
22.
Yeah, 22. All right, so and I look at their secondary, and I'm thinking, no, their secondary is not very good at all. So what makes them a decent defensive team? It's what they do up front. Once the Eagles control what they did up front, it exposed that secondary completely, and they just took control of the game. I mean, I just this team is just mind-boggling in what they need to do. They do, and even when the game was tied, you just knew they were the better team. And once you stopped Derrick Henry, there was nothing that Tennessee could do about it.
I'm still going to complain about, not bringing any pressure on Ryan.
No,
I was just going to bring up
on one play.
Not today.
The one play that you didn't like.
No, he did it twice. He actually did it twice. He did it on another third down. It's pretty apparent that, it's 4th and 7.
It was a 4th and
7.
Right.
And 3rd and long, and you have an opportunity, to take away some field position, and turn the ball right back over to your offense. Your offense is hot, and you line up in your 4-man rush, you know you can't necessarily get there, and then on top of it, you back off and you play zone, and Ryan Tannehill takes off and runs for 8 yards on 4th and 7. I'm like, come on, man. What is it going to hurt? So somebody on Twitter said, oh, what an asinine comment, to say that you would come after him in that situation. I'm like, no, you really want to know what's asinine? Is believing that Ryan Tannehill can beat you throwing the ball down the field, okay, on 4th down, and Derrick Henry hadn't been able to run the ball one iota. To me, that's asinine, that you can go a whole game and you don't blitz these less than quarterbacks at all, and think that when you get to a point in games where it really, really matters, like the last 4 weeks of the season into the playoffs, if you don't start dialing up some pressures, man, these good quarterbacks are going to hurt you.
Derek, we knew he was going to go off on that 4th and 7.
I know. And you know what? We did. When we were watching the game, we did.
I didn't give y'all a chance to set me up today. I just did it on my own.
But I'm going to try.
When have I ever tried to set you up, Seth?
Okay, D-God. Whatever.
I'm going to try to turn this into a positive.
Look, I got news for you.
What?
The defense is what it is. We're going to complain every week. It is what it is.
I'm just not going to stop doing it because at some point in time, I'm telling you right now, at some point in time, it's going to bite them in the ass. I'm telling you.
So next week they have the Giants. They're facing Daniel Jones, who I don't consider an elite quarterback. I don't think anyone does, but they do have to face Saquon Barkley. We've seen them now shut down Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. Seth, are you concerned if the Eagles go into next week's game against the Giants with the same defensive game plan that they came into this game with?
No, because it's going to take another effort like this in order for them to get the W. I mean, they're going to have to.
So you're satisfied with the overall defensive effort today, despite?
No, absolutely. Okay. I'm just listen. In Philadelphia, we are used to a dominant style defense, and we're used to an aggressive style defense. So when you have an opportunity to secure field position, when you have an opportunity to turn the ball back over to your offense that's just rolling, and all they want is for you to give them the ball back on 4th and 7, don't sit back and give a guy a chance to get out of the pocket and scramble for a first down after he's already shown you that he's healthy enough to scramble. All you got to do is you bring enough pressure to force him to get the ball out of his hand right now, make the tackle for 3 or 4 yards, make him punt, offense gets the ball back. But you give them an extra possession, and we're up 7-0 as a matter of fact. And on that conversion spurred them on to tying the game at 7.
Well, guess what's going to happen next week? You have a much more athletic quarterback.
He's going to do it again.
And Daniel Jones, he's going to do it again. He's going to take off and run.
It's going to happen again, and Seth's going to be annoyed next week.
I will be annoyed.
But here's the thing. Tannehill runs for that first down on 4th and 7, and here's where I'm going to make it a positive. Because it did lead to the touchdown, but it also led to Treylon Burks getting knocked out of the game on that touchdown. Which I don't wish injury on anybody, but that was pivotal that he wasn't there for the rest of that game. So they sacrificed the touchdown for losing a play.
Listen, I hear you, but I can't. That's not the important thing to me. The important thing to me is that at some point in time, and somebody said, oh, he just wants to blitz all the time. That is not what I'm saying. Don't be so damn idiotic about what you read and what it is that I'm talking about, But you can't play 50 to 75 plays a game against an offense and you have them in position to impose your will and to create chaos and just sit back and allow them to just eat up field.
Why do you allow social media to get under your skin?
It's unbelievable.
No, I mean,
it's unbelievable.
We've talked about this. Do I need to send you to therapy?
I don't need therapy.
Are you sure?
Hey, listen.
Who needs therapy?
It's amazing to me.
This is how I'm wired. I'll always be wired this way. Think about how much more. Now this team is 11-1. Think about how much more dominant this football team could be if the defense was just 10% more aggressive. I'm not talking about blitzing every down. I just want them to apply pressure to the quarterback just 10% more. And think about how many more opportunities that you create. I mean, listen, when was the last time we caused a fumble? When was the last time we had an interception?
And you know what the counter to that has been? The consensus counter.
That they won the game.
No. The consensus counter as well. We have a defense that leads the National Football League in takeaways. We have a defense that's one of the better defenses against the run in the National Football League. We have a defense that's one of the better defenses against the pass in the National Football League.
So we're just going to lean on that from week to week?
Yes. I just said it a moment ago.
No.
It is what it is.
No.
Jonathan Gannon's not going to change.
You're right.
It's not going to change.
You're right. He's not going to change.
And you know who else is not going to change?
Who?
Johnny Armchair, who calls Seth asinine.
Exactly.
Right? That's
and you let them get
never,
to you?
That's never going to change. And it heats him up every week. When Johnny's eating nachos, complaining about Seth.
We're having a conversation. We're having a conversation about offensive and defensive football. What's the difference between me saying that they need to apply more pressure? What's the difference between that statement and the statement the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks? We've fallen in the rankings in the NFL as a passing offense. I'm not sure that Jalen Hurts, they've been struggling offensively. What's the difference?
We're just trying to look out for you.
What's the difference, though?
We're trying to look out for you.
If you want to talk about what I think the biggest flaw is for this defense, and this is not the defense's fault, it's the schedule's fault. You look at the collection of quarterbacks they played most of the season. How many have really tested them? How many top flight quarterbacks have they played this year?
Are you doing the whole they haven't played a real quarterback?
No. What does the schedule show you?
But who is a real quarterback?
No, I understand that that's not their fault. That's the way the schedule fell.
But there's even that goes to my point even that much more. Okay,
I get what you're saying. I agree with you.
If I was playing against a healthy and fully loaded Aaron Rodgers every week, or a Patrick Mahomes every week, or a Joe Burrow every week, I would be a little more tentative in my play calling. But if I'm playing against these guys that are one-read wonders that have to have a running game in order to be able to operate in the passing game, you damn right I'm going to make them nervous. I'm going to make them go in at halftime and change their draws. That's what I'm going to do.
No, I'm just saying, on this particular day, it's all positive. And I agree with what you've said. And but guess what? It's not going to change.
You're right, but
it's not going to change.
I'm not going to change, and I'm not going to change, and I'm going to stop complaining.
Mike, can I switch seats with you next week? Can I sit over here and you sit here? Can we change seats?
We try every week to calm him down.
All right.
And it doesn't work.
No,
so
we should know.
It's
week 13 of this, yes, we should learn. But I respect it because I do think that Jonathan Gannon's defense can be very frustrating to watch. I'm saying with the original Diamond debate, was this the most impressive, complete win that the Eagles have gotten all season? Yes, I think so. I think it's frustrating as an Eagles fan and someone who covers the team in Philadelphia to see a lot of the national media takes say, they haven't played a good quarterback. They haven't played a good team. Everyone had this Titans game circled on the calendar as, a scheduled loss. Everyone kind of chalked this game up to be the most difficult one on the Eagles' schedule, essentially, and they got their most impressive win of the season. So I think that says a lot for the talent that the Eagles have.
And listen, I give the defense props, okay? They had a hell of a day today. They are 4 for 14 on third down conversions against the Tennessee Titans. 53 total plays, okay? That's 2 weeks in a row. I think last week, who was their opponent last week again? Who the hell they played last week?
The Packers.
Okay, the Packers only have.
See, he's so fired up, he don't remember week 2. I'm a little nervous right now.
Didn't the Packers only have like 40-something plays last week?
Something like 49
so, 49 plays. They only had 53 plays, 200 total yards. Total yards, okay? 122 yards passing and 87 yards, on the ground. And six sacks, okay? That's a hell of a performance. I'm not saying that that's not efficient, that that's not good enough, but my point is, how much more dominant could they be if they just applied a little more pressure?
Right. And when you look at the upcoming schedule,
I'm talking just 10%.
Yeah.
Not every down, not blitzing every third down, but blitzing 10% more.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and I agree. Like I'm nervous about the Cowboys game coming up. They haven't played the Giants yet. We're going to have that one next week, so they should be a little bit more aggressive. I agree with you, Seth Joyner. All right. That wraps up our Diamond Debate presented by Mark's Jewelers. Again, love the bling that they gave me, this bracelet, these earrings. If you need to buy anyone in your family, a loved one, significant other, brother, sister, whoever, any gift for the holidays, make sure you head to Mark's because they really have the most beautiful stuff, and they're always hooking me up with the best bling for the Pond Lehocky postgame show. And stick around because our postgame show will be right back after this break.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My husband hadn't missed work in 15 years. His injury required months of rehabilitation, and unfortunately, the insurance company didn't see it that way. I was working 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough. One conversation with Pond Lehocky changed everything. We sat down, told him our story, and they guided us through the whole workers' compensation legal process.
Pond Lehocky. Tell us your story.
The faces you know, the team you trust. The Delaware Valley's leading news program, Action News.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givnish. When the matriarch of the Dalloway family died suddenly at 82 years old, Life Celebrations by Givnish stepped in.
They will make this the easiest thing that I know it's not easy, but they will make this as easy as possible.
Life Celebrations by Givnish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I just know that my dad, who is in charge of everything, was not in charge of anything at that point when my mom passed. And again, just another shout out to this place for making it easy.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givnish. Life Celebrations by Givnish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Continue your communication sciences and disorders education at Salus University within the Doctor of Audiology or Masters of Science in Speech-Language Pathology programs. With state-of-the-art labs, on-campus clinics, and extensive externship opportunities, students position themselves to be at the top of the job market. Stand out in the audiology and speech-language pathology profession by visiting salus.edu.
It is the Lehocky Eagles post-game show. We're live at Ocean Casino. Mike Missinelli with Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner. Devin Caney will be back with us in a little bit. We'll have John McMullen live from the stadium to analyze the game. But let's just go over a couple things now as the Eagles win 35-10 rather easily against the Tennessee Titans, a team that was supposed to test them today. They're now 11-1, and there are not many games left now. So 3 games on the road, and we'll see how they fare. The one in the middle is a weird one with the Chicago Bears. Next week, a division game, and then on the other side of that, the Dallas Cowboys. So hopefully they can avoid that Bears trap. They stink, and they shouldn't have any problem with it. So we're all looking forward to 3 weeks from now. But let's talk about Jalen Hurts a little bit. 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, rather easily. Let's go into a little 2-minute drill here. We'll get some quick-hitting questions for the guys. Is he so good now that we're almost taking him for granted, that we expect these kind of performances?
No. It's a pleasure to watch, as he continues to evolve into one of the most talked about quarterbacks in the National Football League right now. We're 12 games into this thing, and he just continues to get better and better with his reads, his touch on his passes. We talk about the 2 deep balls he threw. The one to A.J. Brown down the sideline, and we thought was a touchdown. A.J. stepped out of bounds. And then, of course, the one he dropped right on the money. A.J. caught it over the defender. Look at the touch on his passes over the middle to Jack Stoll. It's just a pleasure to watch this young man continue to grow the way he is. I don't think we take it for granted because there have been a few games where his passing's been a little bit off. And we're going to find a couple of other games where it may not be as perfect as we've been accustomed to. But I think the consistent growth in his overall game has been exceptionally pleasing to watch up to this point.
Seth?
I think we should, at this point in time, if we're going to talk about the Eagles getting to the Super Bowl, yeah, we should expect this. The game plan is going to change. And to D. Gunn's point, show me a quarterback in the NFL who doesn't have a game or 2 during the season when, his mechanics are off, he misses some throws, so on and so forth. But the weapons that he has around him, the improvements that he's made, and the ability of the run game to give him the type of balance that will allow him to be an efficient passer of the ball, we can expect this. We can maybe not this type of performance, but listen, he threw for 300 yards against the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody week 1 said, he just ran all over the place. I don't know if this guy, is going to last the season. Then he turned around, against Minnesota, who played a lot of zone, and he sat in the pocket. He operated from the pocket, threw for 300 yards and a few touchdowns there. They were pretty balanced for a while, and then Dallas Goedert gets hurt. And then all of a sudden they start running the ball like crazy. The passes start going down. He's only averaging about 130 yards a game passing the ball. And then all of a sudden he comes out today, boom, 375 yards passing. I mean,
his rating was 130.3. Now, the one touchdown, A.J. Brown, this is the definition of a great double move, where the defensive back actually collides with the fake. And drops like a stone, and A.J. goes right around him, wide open for 30 yards. That play was really telling to me what a great move that was.
Well, not only that, but it also tells you just how strong of an individual A.J. Brown is, because it was like the DB hit a truck's head on. He crumpled down and took a little bit getting up. You combine that kind of physical strength with the speed and the dexterity that he has, man, I tell you what, he is everything that he was advertised to be before he got here and then some. And, he's such a difficult matchup with the DBs. Most DBs physically cannot match up with him in terms of physicality and agility, and it's showing week after week.
Let me ask you now another question on a 2-minute drill. Was the double reverse flea flicker an example of Shane Steichen being bored? that he would call something like that we would call in the sandlot, that play?
Well, it's a play we might see down the road, and who better to use it against than a Tennessee team where you have under control at that particular time. It's a play we hadn't seen all year long. So why not see how well it works in a game like this is already out of reach?
Well, listen, I think a lot of what you see sometimes that these coaches run are just plays to plant a seed, in defensive coordinators' minds moving forward. You really don't think that, a play like that is, and realistically, if Miles Sanders cuts that defensive end, then he probably has time to actually throw the ball down the field, because I guarantee you that was a shot call. But he had to go back to Quez Watkins on the sideline, because in the midst of all of this, razzle-dazzle, the defensive end just got up the field and spoiled the play. But sometimes coaches will run plays like that just to plant a seed in the defensive coordinator's mind, because in that weekly preparation, it's like, when they're lined up like this and this guy's over here and that guy's over there, they might run this again, So it's part of the whole chess game that goes on from a strategic standpoint, in game planning.
All right, point number 3. They didn't rush the ball that well today. They didn't need to, but 24 carries, Miles Sanders, 24 yards on 10 carries. They weren't very effective doing it when they did it. Again, they didn't really have to. Was that any concern to you guys?
No, because we knew the game plan was going in, attacked Tennessee through the air. We knew Tennessee was very good against the run, just like Washington is very good against the run. There's only one team that really frustrated the Eagles this year in terms of running the football, and Washington did it twice. Tennessee is very similar up front, and it starts with that guy, Jeffrey Simmons. He's just that kind of player. They just don't have much else around him outside of Bud Dupree. The back end of that defense has been a mess all season long, and it showed itself today. So, no, in terms of not being able to run the ball in this particular game, absolutely not.
No, listen, the Eagles have got to be averaging, I want to say, coming into this game, right around 170, 175 yards a game rushing. That's not a concern, because you go into this game, you know that it's going to be tough sledding. So you take the path of least resistance is against a team who's 31st against the pass. You're going to take advantage of that opportunity. But when they need to run the ball, and you can see early in the game when they were, running the ball just a little bit, if they were committed to actually running the football the way they had been the last couple of weeks, or committed to balance, I should say, they could have ran the football, because they did have some good runs. They just didn't run it a lot. Listen, the Eagles' two quarterbacks, and Gardner Minshew only threw 2 passes. They threw the ball 41 times today. I mean, that's a lot of pass plays. And if you're going to throw the ball that much, then the numbers are going to be down in the 20s as far as how many times you actually run the ball. But the Eagles have proven that when they need to run the football, they can run it. When they need to throw it, they can throw it. When they need to be balanced in their approach and give you a little bit of both, they can do that too.
No, you predicted that they would maybe throw the ball 45 times in this game. They got to 41. All right, let's talk about the defense. There weren't many things that went wrong today, but there was one situation where the Titans really threatened to tie this game at 14, and they had to settle for a field goal. And that big play was a 41-yarder to the tight end, Okonkwo, and that's where Epps whiffed in the middle of the field, and they got the ball. That got the ball at the 18, and then we had Titans give it back. They had a 3rd and 1. They get a false start and then a sack. And I thought that was really important for the Eagles defense to hold them down to 3 at that point.
This is a defense that has made its name on making strategic plays when it has to. And Seth, I'm like Seth in a lot of ways. The scheme frustrates you in a lot of ways, but the end result is they make plays. They find a way to make plays, whether it's Darius Slade, Bradbury, Edwards, guys in the trenches. And now with the addition of Sue and Linval Joseph in the middle of this defense, Jordan Davis coming back, they're going to continue to make plays. All significant reasons why they hold opponents to under 20 points a game. And how much more can you ask? Do you like to see them do things a certain way, a little bit differently? Yes. But you can't complain with the end results and where they're sitting right now, because it is still, no matter what we like or dislike about it, it is still a top 5 defense in the National Football League.
Hey, listen, 11-1 is 11-1. It's a lot of times, you don't be concerned about how you get there. You get there. Now, we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. We're going to scrutinize it. We're going to analyze it. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. Okay, but. At the end of the day, this football team still is 11-1.
And they overcome things. It's like Okay, Devontae, they challenged the play. He turned out he was out of bounds on that pass play. And A.J. looked like he had a 40-yard TD, a double move, and they get it back. So whatever they do that was wrong, they kind of come back and cover it up and do what's right. It's uncanny what they do.
Very few teams in the National Football League do that on a consistent basis. You know, you look at a team like Kansas City, they do it. For the most part, Miami has been able to do it in a lot of ways this year. But that's a luxury that is going to benefit them, especially come playoff time, when things are not going extremely well. How quickly and efficiently can they overcome it? We have seen it from this team on both sides of the ball time and time again this season, and that is why they are where they are right now. All these little things that they're doing now, and they've had to win games so many different ways this year, all of that's going to come back and be mixed into the pot when it comes one-and-done scenario after the regular season is over.
Well, listen, it really is all about the experiences that you can accrue throughout the season. Those experiences are what you put in the bank. Being down for the first time and having to come back, against the Colts, not having to answer offensively all day, and then figuring out in the fourth quarter, it's time to turn Jalen loose. He had been running the last 2 or 3 weeks. Let's turn him loose. That wins you the game. Having a game last week where you explode for 363 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. A day like today, where Jalen Hurts is 23 for 39 or 20. Is that 23 or 29?
29 for 39.
29 for 39. For 275, 280 something yards, 380 something yards.
380.
So all of these things they kind of play in together, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to build up all of these experiences throughout the year, so that when you face these things in the playoffs, it's not a shock to the system. It's more like, okay, been there, done that before. We've experienced this before. We know what to do to remedy the situation.
All right, a couple other things I want to touch on. But right now, listen, we all want to save money on our car insurance. Here's how to save up to 40% on your car insurance right now. Message from our good friends at Del Val.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm Managing Director here at Del Val Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Righty. There you go. Save 40% on your car insurance. Let's talk about special teams. We were complaining about special teams last week. They made a few changes. They were a little better, but mostly on the return game, where our boy Covey, I know he's one of Seth's favorite players, Britton Covey, had a pretty good day today, Seth.
I love Covey, man. I love Covey, and listen, I love what Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman did. They elevated this kid Ellis this week from the practice squad, and he had the first coverage tackle on special teams today, just lit somebody up on kickoff. Sometimes you have to light a fire under the special teams to get them guys going. You got to elevate somebody. You may have to, release somebody else to send that message that, you got anywhere from 15 to 20 plays a game. We expect for you to be like kamikazes out there every time you're on the field, because your opportunities are limited. When in our return game, we need you to get your guy and make sure your guy's blocked. In the coverage game, we need you to fill your lanes, converge on the ball, and make sure tackles. Something was different about the special teams today. I don't know what the conversation was throughout the week. I don't know whose ass Nick Sirianni chewed, but they played much better today. Britton Covey, listen. Six punt returns for 105 yards. Okay, they haven't had that kind of production in forever. And what's my advice? What do y'all hear me say every single time he catch one?
Block
straight ahead, man. Go straight ahead. Don't go sideways.
Where, they really hadn't blocked for him that well this whole season.
But that's what I'm
you're
saying.
Right. You go straight ahead.
I mean, when you if he goes straight ahead and those guys are getting blocks, that's where the good punt returns come from. You don't get good punt returns running east and west. There ain't no end zones east and west. There ain't nothing but out of bounds on east and west. If you want touchdowns and you want positive yards, you got to go north and south.
Look, we have dissected and chastised Eagles special teams play the entire season. Today, especially after that Green Bay game, today the coverage team came down. They were smacking people. You could hear pass popping on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Covey picked up significant yards in the return game, which helped him in terms of gaining field position. It's a one-game sample, but it's a start. It took 12 games into the season to finally see what we had been hoping for in terms of special teams play. Hopefully this is the start of something more consistently than what we have seen in the previous 11 games.
It's important. It's important that they begin to send this message the closer we get to playoff time, because the really, really good football teams, the really, really good coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators, they're going to dominate in the playoffs.
Sure.
They're going to give you that extra that you might not necessarily get during the season. It's the same exact way in the playoffs. The better coordinators, special teams coordinators, are the ones that's going to make hay, because you know what they're going to do? They're going to break down every single thing that you've done all season long. And they're going to say, hey, we can run a fake punt here. We can run a reverse here on a kickoff. Or, we could get a block punt here. Or we can get a return here. So if you don't clean this stuff up now, it's just going to hurt you later on down the road.
17.5-yard average for Britton Covey today.
Wait, who?
Britton Covey.
Say his name. Put some respect
Say it
on
like
his
you
name.
mean it, Mike.
Put your mic closer to your mouth and say his
Covey.
name.
Put some sauce on it when you say it, Mike.
Poor Jake Elliott, though. He had a field goal taken off the board. Sorry, Jake. I know fantasy football players were not happy about that, but they wound up taking that penalty and scoring with half the distance to the goal penalty. So 35-10, they're 11-1, and next week against the Giants. And I know, Seth, at one point you feared the Giants. Do you fear them now?
Did I fear the Giants?
You feared them a little bit.
No. It's never fear. It's always respect. I respected the fact that Brian Daboll turned not only the performance of that football team, but the mindset of that football team in a completely different direction. Because, if Joe Judge was still there, I would have been like, oh, you can chalk those two up to victories. But I respected the fact that, he got those guys to play at a whole different level, that they actually began to believe in themselves, and they looked like a completely different team from one year to the next. Now, I respect the fact that Wink Martindale is their defensive coordinator. He's going to create some problems for the Philadelphia Eagles next week that they've never seen. He's highly aggressive. He's going to blitz you. He's going to do a whole lot of different things to try to confuse the heck out of Jalen Hurts on the field. So it's one of those things where, it's a two-pronged deal. Now, their offense doesn't really scare me a whole lot. Saquon Barkley, obviously, is the star. Daniel Jones is playing better, but he's still Daniel Jones. If you can get Saquon under control and force him to have to throw the ball, you can eat all day long off of Daniel Jones, if you pressure him. Now, if you let him sit back there, he can make throws, and he can hurt you with his athleticism by getting out of the pocket. But it's not fear. It's just, quite honestly, man, it's respect. They're right there.
I think when you take into consideration that Brian Daboll and his staff came in and took basically the same nucleus that won 4 games a year ago, and you have them right in the thick of the playoff contention in 1 year, I think that says enough in itself that it wasn't maybe just the players, but it was the men leading the players. They didn't have the right people leading the players, and all of a sudden they bring in one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the game, coupled with one of the best defensive-minded coaches in the game, and look at how that organization has turned itself around. Are they a complete team? Far from it. But they're a much better team because those coaches learned how to utilize the talent that they had in-house.
I'm just worried about whether the Eagles win that game next week, and let's play Guess the Line.
Guess the line.
Let's play Guess the Line for next week at the Giants. I'm thinking the Eagles 5.
I was going to say 4.5. I was going to say right around this. So 4 to 5, yeah. I agree with you in that regard. Yeah.
You feeling that, Seth? 4.5, 5 next week?
What was the line going into today?
Today it dropped to
Was it
4.5.
Yeah. Right before game, but it was running right around 6.5.
Yeah, it started
week,
out at 6.5. I think.
I'm gonna say I think they open at 7.
Really?
It may trend down by the time
Road
we get to
favorite
the
by
end.
7.
I say 7 tonight.
All right, well, then
I think they listen. They've been that dominant last week. When you take last week and this week and you put it together, okay, they've been that dominant. And you got to ask yourself, how do they put these lines together? They put these lines together based upon past performance. We've seen the Eagles early on have some wide margins, and then all of a sudden, the previous to last week, the lines were like really narrow. Now all of a sudden they've had 2 dominant wins back to back. I think it's conceivable that this game could open up at 7 tonight.
Which means they should have no problem.
Hey, listen, we thought they were going to have problems today. I personally thought that this was going to be the toughest game they had all season. They messed around and hung a 35 spot, on one of the better defenses in the league. So I don't put anything past them. And you want to know something? They might cover.
Okay.
7.
I like it because that's what I'm thinking. They win these next 2 at the Giants, at the Bears, and it sets up beautifully for a 13-1 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Right? That's what I want to see.
It's meaningful football in December. And the good thing is, if the Eagles run the table to that Dallas game, that means they have a 2-game lead still. The all-important 2-game lead, all-important securing that home field advantage for the playoffs. Eagles, we don't have to tell them this. The Eagles know they can't afford a stumble between now and the time they get to Dallas. I mean, that's understandable, and I don't think they will at this point.
And here's the beauty of this whole thing, because if they get that number 1 seed, not only do they get a bye, we get a bye.
We get a bye.
Right? We get a bye.
We get to sit home and watch a little football.
We can plan a little weekend. Whatever. Let's get together and have a little dinner that week. All right. John McMullen is going to be joining us shortly, right here on the Pond Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Today, your final
Mike,
was 35-10.
Before you go, you don't know it yet, but you ain't getting no bye.
Uh-oh.
We ain't getting no bye.
Oh, we got a special.
No, go ahead.
That must mean a playoff special show. Am I right? Playoff special show? See, Seth knows all this inside stuff.
I don't know anything. I'm just speculating.
Mike, you know what he just did? He finally got back at us because we've been getting at him all season long. So he finally got his little measure of revenge.
But he's on the inside. We're not.
That's
he's
true.
always telling me, hey,
all I am here is an afterthought. I'm just hanging out with you guys.
Stop it. I'm just throwing stuff up against the wall, hoping it sticks.
Look at the gleam in his face.
Stop
Look.
it. Mike,
Mike,
because last week he goes, hey, did you hear about it? I go, no, I didn't hear about that. He knows all.
Look,
our producer Joe shares every little thing with him, but not us.
Are you serious?
He's got. Did
you not look at your email this morning?
He's afraid of you.
I think we all were on the same email this morning. Really?
I didn't check the email this morning.
See, there you go.
You know why?
If you would have checked the email, you would have been in the know, Mike.
Hey, because Seth is Joe's favorite, Mike.
Oh, well, of course.
Oh, here we go.
Of course,
hey, Joe, can I take us to break, man?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You know everything else. Take us to break. I'm out.
Look, CEO Joe Kraus sitting behind the cameras. Everything Seth says, he does like this.
Yeah, of course he does.
He does one of these
first.
Where's Devin at, man? I need some help.
Because Seth will go, yo, man, why didn't you tell me that? Why didn't you tell me that? That's why he's afraid of it. Let's take a break. On the other side, John McMullen and his views covering the game today. The Eagles Pond Lehocky postgame show continues after this.
Hey Philly, it's Tom Giordano from Pond Lehocky Giordano. Be sure to follow Pond Lehocky on Instagram for your opportunity to win free Eagles home game tickets for the rest of the season. You heard that right. We're giving away free tickets all season long. And guess what? We're going to give away tickets to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So make sure you're following us. And as always, thanks for watching the Pond Lehocky postgame show. Go Birds.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, President of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands, more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
It is the Pond Lehocky postgame show live here at Ocean Casino, but let's venture to Philadelphia, where our man on the scene, the man covered the ball game today at Lincoln Financial Field, John McMullen, joins us. John, the opponent today showed that they really weren't that good against the pass, so the Eagles come out and pass the ball and blitz them and crush them, and now they're 11-1. I mean, what else do I need to say?
Yeah, wow. For all the people looking for the complete game, this was as complete as I've seen this season. Even the special teams was really good. They made a couple tweaks there. They were tremendous. About the only thing you can complain about, I'm trying to figure out, is the penalties. There were too many penalties, too many pre-snap penalties on offense specifically. Other than that, I mean, you got to dig deep to complain about something about this team. The front four, front five, depending on their look, dominated from the defensive perspective. TJ Edwards talked about that. And then Jalen Hurts, I mean, he was 7 yards away from his career high in passing, and he left with basically 10 minutes left to go in the game. So that tells you how effective the passing game was. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith both go over 100 yards. He got the football to 9 different receivers, I think it was. Ryan Calcaterra's getting involved. Jack Stoll's getting involved down the field. Boy, this is impressive. And you look out elsewhere, you know, Minnesota hangs on for dear life against the New York Jets. The 49ers lost Jimmy Garoppolo. They're playing right now. Whew, this team is set up, Mike Missinelli.
Hey, John, what did Sirianni have to say about the volume of penalties and, of course, the multitude of the pre-snap penalties today?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing he complained about. You know, he did call it the most complete effort of the season for his team, but immediately brought up the penalties, the pre-snap penalties specifically. So that's something. I mean, they're at home, D-Gun, so you don't want that even if you're using a silent count on the road. And that, to me, is just a little bit of, you know, lack of focus. I think they'll tighten that up pretty quickly. I mean, there's certain things that Lane Johnson, you know, he gets off the ball so quick. Sometimes you think he can get called for a false start a bunch of times. Jason Kelsey does some savvy things, you know, maybe he shouldn't do at times. And I thought Adrian Hill was, you know, a stickler today, penalty-wise, both sides. But I think I'm not too concerned about that with that veteran offensive line. I think they're trying to get away with some things, and they didn't. And they'll fix it.
John, two things. Did I think there was some report that, you know, at halftime when Nick came out, he took some of the blame for some of the penalties, some of the false start penalties in the first half. Did anyone ask him about that? I think, you know, on the network coverage, you know, the halftime, the sideline reporter reported that they had a conversation with him, and that's what that was, you know, part of the conversation. The second part is, you know, game plan wise, did anybody ask, you know, Nick about what their game plan was? Was the game plan really to come out and put the ball in the air 40-something times, or did they, you know, really try to establish the run early and figure that they couldn't and just decide to take what was the path of least resistance?
No, the game plan was, you know, they knew they were going to get man-to-man coverage on third downs, and they thought they could take advantage of it. So this was a passing game plan day. They came into it thinking they had a big advantage there. You know, Titans were already without Caleb Farley, who's their best corner. Then they lost another corner, so it kept getting worse and worse down on the depth chart. And it worked out just as they envisioned it would. As far as the penalties, yeah, Nick, in fact, I asked him the first question, and that was he took responsibility for the penalties. Well, you know, Seth, a lot of times that's the kind of coach Nick is. He'll take last week he did it with special teams. You know, no, it's probably not his fault, but it's nice to have a CEO coach who takes responsibility for the entire team. I think I've always thought that's the best way to do it. I think that's an underreported sort of strength of this team and how he's built this coaching staff. He does keep his thumb, so to speak, in every aspect of the team. So if something needs corrected, this week it was special teams, he makes sure it gets corrected, even if it's a little tweak, like activating Christian Ellis, who can really run. Really was happy to be on special teams, really made a big difference. He'll do stuff like that.
Did he give any specifics, or did anybody ask for specifics? If you're gonna assume the blame, you know, I'd like to know, you know, how so was it your fault? Was it something game plan wise? Something, you know, you said that they can get kind of crafty sometimes and get away with some things. Was it something that the offensive line was instructed to do that was causing this, or was he just, you know, taking the bullets for his guys?
Yeah, I think he was just taking the bullets for his guys. I mean, pre-snap penalties are pre-snap penalties. So when everybody complains about officials and they say, well, false start's a false start. I mean, there's occasionally, you have it both ways. Did the defender jump before the offensive lineman? You could have that sort of bang bang play like at first base in baseball, but most of them are pretty clear cut. And most of those false starts, other than the Jalen Hurts false start, which is kind of weird, most of them are pretty obvious. So I think it was more Nick just taking the bullets for his guys.
A.J. Brown, John, pretty impressive. 8 snares, 119, couple great touchdown plays. He could probably downplay this, but what do you think his mindset was, and did he say anything about after the game facing his old team?
Yeah, he did. He finally admitted, because all week and really all year, a couple weeks ago, he said, I'm done talking about Tennessee. And obviously this week came up and he had to talk about Tennessee at least a little bit. He played it down. Yeah, this was big for him. And he admitted again, he didn't want to leave Tennessee. He wanted to end his career there. He was very upset that they didn't want to pay him the going rate for receiver that the Eagles ultimately did. But he likes Mike Vrabel. He had a big hug for him pregame. And, then he wanted to go out and beat the you-know-what off him. And he pretty much did. So, it was a very big week for A.J. Brown. He finally admitted that after the game.
Hey, John, what about Jordan Davis? First time back in over 4 weeks, and we obviously don't have a snap count. That hasn't come out yet. But at one point, I believe we saw him limp a little bit, but he did come back into the game. Did you guys get to talk to him, number one, about how it felt to be back, especially 20 pounds lighter, and where he thought he was after the game?
Yeah, I didn't get to talk to Jordan. I talked to him during the week when he mentioned how much weight he lost, how much conditioning he did. He didn't play that much on first look. Obviously, I got to watch the game again. Linval Joseph was the nose tackle when they had the 5-man looks, which were very effective. The Eagles did a very effective job on Derrick Henry. But there were times, and I thought this was interesting, and I was hoping they were going to do this, and they unveiled it at least once or twice. When Linval was playing on the nose, Jordan was playing 4-eye. So they had both of them on the field at the same time. And you can imagine what that would be like moving forward when you need to stop the run potentially in the playoffs. To have those two guys on the field at the same time, that could be something to keep an eye on. But, he's been out for a month. I think it was pretty clear the Eagles were taking it slowly with him. And the presence of Linval Joseph enables them. When we look back at that signing, I think that's going to be a big one, as long as Linval stays healthy, because, playing 20, 25 snaps a game and just, stuffing, taking up blockers, he's really good at that. And he's already proven to be really good at it in the short 3 weeks he's been here.
Man, John, if I could play 25 snaps a game, I might still be playing right now. Talk about what a blessing it is, or, I kind of talked about it in the pregame. You never want to see a guy get injured, but really, in a lot of ways, the Jordan Davis injury was a blessing in disguise, because you got veteran depth added, because you lost your nose guard. You needed some guys. You go out and you sign Linval Joseph and you sign Ndamukong Suh. And now look at the kind of depth that they have at the defensive tackle position. I mean, you got 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys at that position that are interchangeable, that you can move into certain positions, and you can minimize how many plays they play so that you can keep them fresh. And then we saw the guys on the outside today, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick really, really show up because of the push and how dominant they were on the interior part of the defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, and TJ Edwards was the first to say, I mean, the defensive line dominated this game. They set the tone. I think they took it a little personally that everybody talked about how physical and tough Tennessee was all week, and they wanted to prove that they were physical and tough. And you're right. You know, Josh Sweat had hit best game of the year. I mean, he dominated. Hassan Reddick might have been even better from the other side. So they were really coming. Ryan Tannehill has been playing for a long time now. He didn't look like he knew what was going on, what he was saying. He was holding on to the football. He couldn't make a decision. He couldn't pull a trigger. And if you think about that, Seth, with Reed Blankenship as an undrafted rookie, his first start at safety, and he played well. Josiah Scott and the nickel, Zach McPherson, they threw some dime looks they haven't thrown out all year until this game. They look like they really, really confused Ryan Tannehill. And when we talk about this defense and the philosophy behind it, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to, start with the cover two look as much as possible, but then spin off of that post snap, whether it's quarters coverage, cover 6, cover 8, cover 2, and confuse the quarterback. Doesn't always work. It worked today against Ryan Tannehill.
John, let me get back to the special teams. You mentioned it, and they, especially in the return game, Britton Covey had a pretty good game. What was the adjustment they made? They were fretting about it last week. They said they were going to maybe implement some more regulars in the special team units. What did you see the adjustment that they made?
Yeah, I mean, when it came to the returns, I mean, Christian Ellis really played well, and both as a coverage guy and a blocker on kickoff returns. He needed one key block, him and Zach McPherson, on one of the Covey returns. So that was the main tweak from a personnel standpoint. I think they took Zach Pascal off, and that was a big difference. The Tennessee kid, who's a rookie, Stonehouse, I mean, he has got a monster leg. I mean, a monster leg. I think I'm looking, he had 7 punts for 401 yards. He averaged 57.3 yards per punt. But guess what? The kid outkicks his coverage. I mean, this is the first time all year Britton Covey had any room. I mean, when he was catching the football, the Titans coverage was 10 yards away from him. So, that's what Britton does really well, is he takes what's there. And what was there today was a lot, because the young punter just kicks it as far as he can, and nobody can cover it because he kicks it too far.
John, look at where this team sits right now at 11-1. They have won games in such a variety of ways, and as I said earlier in the show, they have such a luxury of depth, like basically no other team across the National Football League. Primetime player goes down, they fill somebody in the gap, and in most cases they don't miss a beat. Look at the variety of ways they've achieved what they have thus far. How beneficial has it been? Come from behind, blowouts, major stops, as they mentally and physically prepare themselves. Now, they still got some regular season football to play, but as they mentally and physically prepare themselves for what's to come in the second season.
Oh, I think it's huge that they're able to win different ways. I mean, I can't think about it. Last week they ran for 363 yards. This week, the quarterback has 380 throwing it with 9:40 left in the game, and they take him off the field. They can do whatever they need to do to win a particular football game offensively. It's pretty impressive. 1987 is the last team, it was the Raiders, I believe, that ran for 350 plus one week and the next week threw for 350 plus. So this is rare. This does not happen often. And the fact that they can toggle like that week in and week out, when they get up, go up the turnpike next week, I don't know what the weather's going to be. It's probably going to be Boston Scott, knowing his history with the Giants. If they need to run the football, they'll run the football. If they need to pass the football, they'll pass the football. This is pretty impressive. You know, people ask me all the time because I covered the Super Bowl team. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl, but this team is more talented than the team that won the Super Bowl.
Hey, you know, John, there was the N'Kobe Dean sighting today because Kazir White got banged up.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on what you saw out of N'Kobe Dean in his first action of the year?
Well, I mean, it was N'Kobe Dean, right? I mean, it was garbage time, but he's always around the football. I think T.J. Edwards led them in tackles. I'm just looking. N'Kobe was second, you know, and he barely played. So it's kind of the guy. He's very instinctive. I'm not worried about N'Kobe Dean at all. He doesn't play because the Eagles have good linebackers. T.J. Edwards is probably the most underrated player on this team. Kaiser White is very important to what they do defensively, especially in coverage. They're good players. It's not like he's not on the field because he can't play. He's just a rookie behind two good veterans. And if they need him, I think he would be relatively effective. And he kind of showed that a little bit today. But yeah, I mean, I think N'Kobe's going to be a good player for this team in years to come. He's just stuck behind two better players right now.
John McMullen, thank you. The Eagles with 3 games on the road, and that last one's at Dallas. So we'll see how this all works out. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging with us.
Hey, thank you, guys.
That's John McMullen covering the game for JAKIB Sports. We're back. We've got the drive of the game. We've got game balls and a look ahead to this 3-game gauntlet that they're going to be facing. Philadelphia Eagles win 35-10. They're 11-1, and we're back after this.
My wife was in an accident that changed our lives forever. She was in rehabilitation for years. She had to learn to walk again. She couldn't take care of herself. We couldn't afford a nurse. We were running out of options. One conversation with Lehocky changed everything. They understood what we were going through and immediately helped us navigate the legal process. We can't thank them enough.
Lehocky, tell us your story.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands, more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
My name is Franz Soleno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Welcome back to the Lehocky Postgame Show. I'm Devin Caney. It is time for our Jeff D'Ambrosio Drive of the Game. Go JeffAuto.com. Guys, once again, several drives throughout this game to choose from in terms of biggest difference maker, your favorite, the cleanest, whatever parameters you want to use. And I usually like to pick on someone and call at random. So Mike Missinelli, I'm going to go to you first on this.
Okay, I'm glad you did, because I'm going to...
I know, I feel like you've been getting the short end of the stick lately.
I have been getting the short end of the stick. So, and I'm going to sop up the best drive of the game before these guys get to it. but for me, it was the drive right before halftime where they scored with 51 seconds left to make it 21-10. And it had answered Titans' score. They had stopped them from scoring a touchdown. The Titans got 3 out of it. And they came right down the field with minimal time on the clock. And 7 plays, 75 yards, 24-yard pass interference penalty in that drive. Trey Avery trying to check A.J. Brown, which he didn't do well all game. But to me, that was a major drive going into halftime, up 21-10.
I like that choice. And again, I really like that the Eagles are scoring now going into the half, where earlier in the season in a few games, there were a few frustrating moments where, half would be winding down, Eagles would get the ball and didn't really do anything with it. So they also scored in every single quarter today, where, if you remember back to early season especially, it was very much a first half heavy scoring for the Eagles offense. Derek Gunn, what is your drive of the game?
I'm going to shock you all with my drive of the game.
Boy.
A lot of times, the initial drive of a game can be a tone setter for the game. This team comes out of the gate, first play of the game, false start. Then they have to waste a timeout because they don't have the right personnel in. They coming out of the timeout, they have another false start. Now, that could have given Tennessee momentum right off the bat, but oh no. They corrected their deficiencies, went right down the field, and put together a 75-yard play scoring drive that took less than 3 minutes off the clock. What really stands out about that drive is, because of the way they ran the ball against Green Bay, is they only ran the ball one time. They came out throwing the football, and that was the tone setter for me. Overcoming the penalties, throwing the ball way more than they ran the football in that opening drive. To me, that was the drive of the game.
We should have known with that opening false start that was going to also be a trend this game. And it didn't end up hurting the Eagles really at all. But should have known that was going to happen. Seth, your drive of the game.
I like the third drive of the game. 7 plays for 85 yards, a 40-yard touchdown to A.J. Brown. They had a couple of penalties in that drive. They have the catch by A.J. Brown that looks like it's a touchdown, that's then reversed. And they come back 2 plays later and hit him again with another bomb on the other side where they drop coverage, and A.J. Brown just kind of waltzes into the end zone. And that one was big for me because, by that time, Tennessee had tied up the game. We messed around and let them complete, or convert a a 4th and 7, that leads to a 7-7 tie. But that game, that turnaround right there, when they go back up 14-0, the Eagles were never in danger from that point on. They got close, at 10-14, but never any closer than that.
And you know what I loved? He had that 41-yard catch. It was incomplete. And then another 41-yard catch. We know that Nick Sirianni likes to be cute sometimes too cute, but I appreciate that he just gave it right back to A.J. Brown. He was wide open the second time. All right, any other runner-ups, any honorary drives that we need to discuss? Did anyone say the 10-minute drive that I think was in, the third quarter? I think it ended in the Miles Sanders touchdown.
Yeah, nobody said that.
Yeah.
We said that?
No,
yeah?
nobody said that. Nobody said it. I think all three of our drives were actually drives of the game. I think they were seriously.
Well, usually you guys are fighting over the drives.
We are.
I don't know how to handle this right now.
Different and all important.
See, Mike thought he had us. Mike thought he was going to have the definitive drive in the game.
He was
had
so
no
excited
idea.
to go first, yeah.
When you ask about a runner-up drive, I'm going to go with the drive where we thought A.J. Brown had the touchdown.
Yeah.
He stepped out of bounds, come back the next play, hit him on the other side of the field for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I think that was a definitive drive of the game as well, so I'm going to use that as my runner-up drive of the game.
Look at you guys all
I'm
agreeing
here
and
listening
supporting
to you guys,
each other.
These guys are smarter than I think. Honest to God, they had some great drives. Look, Devin, the reason why I picked, one of the reasons I picked that, because two underappreciated guys were involved in my drive. And one is my favorite guy. You know
Jack
who that
Stahl.
is? Jack Stahl made
Mike
a snare
Stye.
in that drive.
Yeah.
And Kenneth Gainwell made a couple of big plays in that drive.
Is Jack Stoll going to get your game ball again?
No, he's not getting my game ball, but he showed up today, made a couple plays.
Yeah, he did.
But he makes his first catch down the seam. Next play, he comes back as a penalty on him. He was so excited.
Yeah.
He got a penalty on him, so it negates
what he
it.
did.
Yes, exactly.
I think Jack was the primary on that next play. He got a little overzealous.
Yeah.
My runner-up goes to the Eagles' defense's drive of the game. Do you realize Tennessee, first series of the game, they went 3 and out. Then it went 10 plays, 71 yards. They get the touchdown to Burks. He's out. They go 3 and out, 6 plays, field goal. 3 and out punt, 3 and out punt. Kobe returns that one for 28 yards. Then you got 4 plays for 9 yards, another punt. 4 plays, 7 yards, another punt. 4 plays for 0 yards, another punt. Then they turn it over on downs. Then I stopped tracking it.
That was the perfect end to that analysis, Seth.
This is what the Eagles do, though, Devin. They go, okay, we're better than this team. These guys don't have to be interested anymore. We're watching. All right, this game is a fait accompli. Nothing's ever going to happen to make Tennessee come back. So we're just waiting for the post game at that point.
But you know what? I'm glad that the Eagles have gotten back to the point where we're getting a little bored almost. I don't want to jinx it. And by the end of the game, how you kind of felt watching the Steelers game. I felt was the last very dominant win. So I'm glad that the Eagles are fun to watch again. And we even got some Minshew media by the end of the game. So that was exciting. Okay, so I mentioned game balls, Mike, and we do have those coming up on the other side of this message from our Upon the Hockey Postgame Show partners. Welcome back to the Upon the Hockey Postgame Show. It's time for our game balls presented. You would think that this is a primetime game and we're going on at like 2 a.m. with the way these guys are acting today.
We almost caught CEO Joe Kraus on camera.
D-Gun out here like counting down during the break. I don't know what's going on.
How did these footballs get here?
It
must be magic.
All right, let me get the sponsor in quick. Game balls presented by Colony Pools, flywithcolony.com. Yeah, you guys are on a different level today. I also heard you fighting, Seth. You needed me to come to your aid in the last segment, what was going on?
They like to gang up on me.
They do.
I'm not an antagonist, Seth. I'm a peace-loving man.
I'll defend you, Seth. Don't worry.
You always defend Seth. I expect it.
I do, actually.
Hey, Hey, Gunn, I want you to know I got my feet up off the ground for a reason.
What are you trying to say? Is getting knee deep over here? Is that what you're saying? Seth, I'm always on your side.
I think Seth wants new chairs. But Seth will get new chairs, too. All he has to do is ask for them.
You guys are the one complaining about chairs. Stop it, man.
All right. Well, alliances have been formed here. I think everyone's picked a side. Let's see if you guys agree or disagree on who gets your game balls today. Seth, I'm going to go to you first on this one.
I'm going Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's impossible for anybody else to get this today. I know A.J. Brown had a big day going against, his former team. But, the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's been a lot of questioning, a lot of reservation about whether Jalen Hurts, could pass the ball the way he did early in the year, and a lot of doubts, to be honest with you, about where the offense was and was it actually going backwards. He steps up today, 29 for 39, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 sacks. I think they were sacks that he needed to take. He was smart to take them with a quarterback rating of 130.3. If that's not MVP worthy, if that's not game ball worthy, if it's not, MVP worthy when you talk about overall NFL MVP play, that's huge.
You hear that, Jalen Hurts haters who still doubt him and say Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. D-Gun, do you agree, disagree, game ball?
I agree with Seth, but it's an obvious choice. And just because I don't want to just, toe the line today, I'm going to give it to A.J. Brown. I mean, I thought he handled himself very professionally all week long. You know how we in the media like to do. We like to pick and probe and stuff like that and try to get you to say certain things that you might not say. But he handled it as smooth, but you could tell that the emotions were building as the week went on. Came out, targeted 10 times, 8 catches, $119, almost averaged 15 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns. He lost 1 touchdown on one side, comes right back and catches a touchdown on the other side. I'm going to give it to that man, AJ, the former Tennessee Titan, who got his revenge today.
I love it. He certainly got his revenge. And I also like that he bounced back after, not that he had bad games, but, fumbled the ball the last few games. He was sick, even though you guys freaked out at me when I said that on the postgame show last week.
I would use the word freaked out.
It was an immediate shutdown that being sick shouldn't matter. But he had that broken blood vessel.
Would you say we freaked out at her last week?
I mean, I play the clip. I don't know. I remember I said, well, he was sick, and it was an immediate what?
I remember Devin saying, "Why are you guys attacking me?"
Well,
for once I was ganged up on.
Because she kind of insinuated that the bloodshot eye was in his hand.
What?
I didn't want to bring that up.
That's why he dropped the ball.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up.
Look, hey, if you saw the picture of his eye, it was kind of scary looking.
I saw it, and I did feel a little bad about my comment after I saw it. But the fact of the matter is, there was nothing wrong with his damn hand.
Yeah, see,
that is a very fair point,
you have
actually.
to understand, Devin, that Seth once played with 105 fever, barefooted, with glass in his eye back in the day. So
wait a minute. Do I need to pull up the bio to show you that I once played with 102 fever on Monday Night Football and balled out? Do I need to
I believe it.
Okay.
How about the glass in the eye and no shoes?
I'm not giving anybody any sympathy when it comes to, I don't feel good. Listen,
I have a legitimate question about that. When you're playing and you're that sick, are you actively thinking about how bad you feel during the game, or are you just locked in, adrenaline takes over?
So my mindset was, okay, I knew my energy was going to be low. So my mindset was just go all out, and wherever you are on the field, just take a knee to try to recuperate for the next play. As I get back, in formation, Byron will give me, the defense, and I'll know where to line up. I think that, when you talk about athletes being in the zone, I think you're more apt to be in the zone when you're sick like that than not, because your mind is so preoccupied with how you're feeling that you're not even thinking. So the hay was already in the barn from a preparation standpoint. I just got my mind out of the way and allowed my body to do, what it had to do. And quite frankly, it was one of the best games, if not the best game in my career.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The human body is a fascinating thing in terms of how adrenaline can overcome so many things that may ail you. And we see that time and time again. When you talk about everybody in the National Football League to a certain degree is hurting right now, physically in some way, shape, or form. But you get out there and you do what you have to do. and you're going to be hurting again Monday, Tuesday of next week, but you'll find a way to overcome that as well. I wish they could bottle adrenaline in a lot of ways and give it to all of us in some way, shape, or form, because when you get to talk to certain players and you find out about some of the things they go through just to get on the football field, the average person cannot do what they do to get out on the football field.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And it's impressive. And even if you did it with glass in your eye and barefoot, like Mike says, Mike.
Blood vessel in the eyeball.
Do I have a game? I have to give out a game
You have to give your game ball, yes. I'm sorry,
I
we got
agree with
sidetracked.
both of these guys. I don't know where to go with Jalen Hurts at 130 rating. It's tough to turn away from. But I was going to originally give it to AJ because the game circumstance and what it meant to him and how he came out and delivered. And that snatch catch. I mean, he's like, give me that. Away from Trey Avery on that play. That was a great catch. And even Lane Johnson made note of it. So I'll side with D Gunn and go A.J. Brown. I had Jalen last week, so that's one of the reasons.
Love it. Agreed. Jalen, A.J. Brown, incredible games. That is undeniable. All right, those are our game balls presented by Colony Pools. Stick around. Final segment of the Pond Lehocky postgame show coming up after this break.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
Continue your communication sciences and disorders education at Salus University within the Doctor of Audiology or Masters of Science in Speech-Language Pathology programs. With state-of-the-art labs, on-campus clinics, and extensive externship opportunities, students position themselves to be at the top of the job market. Stand out in the audiology and speech-language pathology profession by visiting salus.edu.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
All right, welcome back to the Eagles Lehocky Postgame show. The gang is here, and let's talk about, let's stretch it out here, because the Eagles obviously are 11-1. They romped again today over the Titans, a team that we thought would give the Eagles a little bit of problem. So next week, at the Giants, at the Bears, and then at Dallas. If we can project ahead, and I know I don't want to jinx them here, but if the Eagles get the number 1 seed, they get that first round bye. Who do you believe that they would face in the second round or the third round that would give them problems at this point?
I think the only team you really have to worry about in the NFC, from my perspective, is this San Francisco team. I think this is a team that is probably the most physical team that's in the NFC. As I just talked to Seth about, and I've said time and time again, I think they have one of the best front sevens in the game. I think Fred Warner is the best inside linebacker in the game right now. They are one of the few teams in the league that can consistently get pressure on a quarterback with just their 4-man front, which allows their back 7 to do a lot of different things and play a lot of different games. Now, we don't know the severity of Jimmy Garoppolo's injury right now. He went out with a foot injury, was carted off the field. That could be devastating for what the 49ers are hoping to do come playoff time. But I think when you start about matching up opponents against this Eagles team, it has to start with the 49ers.
I don't think it matters whether Jimmy Garoppolo plays or not, to be honest with you.
Well,
and this is why. Who San Francisco really wants to be is they want to be a running team that plays good, solid defense and throws the ball when they need to. Okay, Brock Purdy is doing a pretty good job
against a good Miami defense.
Against a good Miami defense right now.
Yeah.
And if they can get, all their guys are healthy. I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey. That deal was just,
icing on the cake.
It was just illegal in my estimation.
Illegal.
It was almost illegal, man, for that deal to be made.
It's like what the Yankees used to do.
Oh my gosh, man! I mean,
players.
Because what he brings and what he gives them, if he can stay healthy, especially in this situation with Garoppolo now being hurt, they're going to have to run the football, and then they're going to have to, be able to throw the ball off of their run. And that sets up perfect for a guy like Purdy. Now, they got plenty of other weapons around, but you don't want to have Purdy have to come in and throw the ball 30, 40 times in a game, and they can do that. And from a defensive perspective, you just talked about it a minute ago. They can rush 4 and get home all day long.
Yes.
They're so big up front. Their 2 defensive tackles are just massive. And then on the back end, on the second level and the third level, they play with such speed that trying to get outside is undoable.
Well, let me twist you up even further, because this is the way it stands right now. And again, this is not going to be probably what it is at the end. But as we stand right now, the Eagles get the number 1 seed. It'll be a 7-seed Washington at Minnesota, the 2nd seed. 6-seed Giants at San Francisco, the 3 seed. And the 5th seed Dallas at Tampa Bay, the 4th seed. If you want to go chalk, the winners in that dynamic would be Minnesota, San Francisco, Dallas, which means the Eagles' first game would be against Dallas.
I don't know. I think that Washington can legitimately go in and win a game against Minnesota.
All right, well, if that happens, the Eagles get the Commanders.
I'm not sold one iota on Minnesota.
I'm not either.
I'm just not. I'm not sold on them defensively. Dalvin Cook hasn't been special this year. The one guy that's been special is Justin Jefferson. And when we played him, we shut him down. So I just don't see it. I don't see Minnesota being that juggernaut that they squeak by.
How you feel about a first-round game possibly against Dallas after you get the bye?
Well, listen.
Second round.
Is that with or without Odell?
Well, we don't know that. Is
that still a thing that we're talking about?
We should find out this week.
We'll find out.
Situation?
We'll find out later this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at Minnesota.
To be honest with you,
I know. I look at Minnesota, and I don't like Ed Donatell's defense one bit. Number 1. Number 2, Vikings did again today what they've done 6 or 7 times this year. They got a break. The Jets had them twice inside the 5-yard line, couldn't capitalize on it. Jets should have won that football game again today. You look at how they won the game against Buffalo. The quarterback fumbles at the goal line. When do you see that? Basically, if he had to run out the clock, game's over. I just don't like the way Ed Donatell coaches Minnesota defense, and I think the luck is going to run out on this team soon enough.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Minnesota, though, because the Eagles are going to play them.
Kind of look like our defense, but with we got better personnel.
Much better personnel. Much better personnel.
So you're talking about, Odell. It all sounds great to get a guy, of his stature and his ability. But the truth of the matter is he's still coming off an ACL.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is he still hadn't played a game since the Super Bowl. He hadn't been in anybody's training camp. He hadn't done anything.
And he hasn't worked, and he's not going to work out for anybody. So you don't know what you get.
No. And the problem with injury, in the NFL is that physically, you can heal up physically real easy because you put the work in, and it's so much time that it takes. And if you put the work in and you do what's necessary, you can get the body back where it needs to be. The problem is the psychological healing. When he's got to stick that foot in the ground on turf again, and when he's got to make a sharp cut on turf again, is he going to be going 100 miles an hour and have the ability to do it or not? And then on a short end of the season, what kind of real chemistry can he and Dak Prescott really create? So I'm not worried about that dude at all, man. I'm really not.
All right.
I'm not.
I'm not worried about him. I would say Dallas scares me the most out of any other potential NFC opponent.
Why? Do you remember how we slapped them around the first game?
And I hate that I'm going to say this. We played Cooper Rush. We didn't play Dak Prescott.
Oh, valid point.
If the Eagles...
But here's the thing about Dak Prescott. When's he won a big postseason game?
Exactly.
He's like a Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
He puts up stats in the regular season, hasn't won a big game in the playoffs.
And
yet.
what Dak Prescott will do, what he's been doing lately, is he will throw some interceptions to you, and he will turn the football over.
And the one thing that I think the Cowboys have is Mike McCarthy as their coach, and that does not scare me
so
at all.
Either we're afraid of him or we're not afraid. And
out of the options, they scare me the most.
They get him with a week of rest. Maybe it's not, and they get him home.
Yeah.
Maybe the Eagles have a major edge. Maybe they'll be a 5-point favorite.
So I'll say this. After the New Year's Eve game, Mike asked me that question, and I'll tell you.
Okay. All right. We're off New Year's Eve, right? What are we
No,
doing New Year's Eve?
no,
We're not
Oh,
off.
We're not off.
How are we going to be
Do
off?
you not get the same emails we get? Are you not on the same
Are we
email chain?
arguing about this again?
I'm just checking with
Hey,
Seth.
D-Gun, check his water bottle over there.
Yeah, what are you drinking over here, man?
I'm just checking with Seth. I just don't want to go anywhere.
Oh, he's just checking with the second CEO.
Wait, are we talking about New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve? Do we mean Christmas Eve?
No, New Year's Eve also.
What's New Year's Eve? There's New Year's Day.
Week.
New Year's Day.
We're off New Year's Eve.
New Year's Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're off New Year's Eve.
New Year's Day.
Now I'm confused.
Oh, all right. Because I don't want to, I'm
happening?
planning to show up here no
D-Gun,
matter what.
look like I might have to host a show in 2 weeks.
All right. I think that's enough of this frivolity. Eagles win 35-10. Another impressive win. They're now 11-1, and a big schedule coming up with 3 on the road. For Derek Gunn, for Seth Joyner, for Devin Caney, I'm Mike Missinelli. We'll see you all next week. Another 1 o'clock start. See you then.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted, revered.
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate, honest,
and fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny.
We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. When the matriarch of the Dalloway family died suddenly at 82 years old, Life Celebrations by Givenish stepped in.
They will make this the easiest thing that I know it's not easy, but they will make this as easy as possible.
Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I just know that my dad, who is in charge of everything, was not in charge of anything at that point when my mom passed. And again, just another shout out to this place for making it easy.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.